In the beginning, before there was speech, there was silence. Before the shaping of the cosmos, before light erupted from darkness, and before time itself etched its signature into matter, there was only stillness, a boundless field of being, vibrating with potential. It is here, in this primordial silence, that all things were conceived, and it is here that we must return. We live in a world addicted to noise, not just the sound of machines, sirens, or endless chatter, but the inner noise, the constant hum of thought, worry, planning, performing. We are urged to move faster, strive harder, speak louder, as if presence could be earned, and peace could be chased. But what if everything we seek is not found in movement, but in stillness? What if true power is not exerted, but allowed? This is not just a poetic idea, it is a sacred law, hidden in the teachings of sages, whispered in the winds of ancient deserts, echoed in monasteries, temples, and mystical circles long forgotten. Stillness is not emptiness, it is the gateway to your highest self. In this series, we are not simply talking about being quiet, we are exploring the art of being still, the kind of stillness that rearranges your reality, the kind that doesn't beg the universe to listen, but makes it respond. This is about reclaiming the power of silence as your most potent spiritual tool, one that modern life has stolen from you. You see, the noise has been weaponized. In a distracted mind, there is no clarity. In a restless heart, there is no receiving. And in a life that never pauses, there is no room for magic. This journey will not teach you how to add more to your life. It will show you how to subtract, not as a form of loss, but as a sacred return, a peeling away of false layers, of forced identity, until what remains is you, pure, untouched, infinite. And from that place, all things become possible. Throughout this series, we will walk through ancient parables, forgotten rituals, and the esoteric teachings of mystics who understood the divine architecture of silence. We will meet characters who embody the stillness law, ordinary souls who learn to access extraordinary power not through doing, but through being. You will discover why silence has always been a path to revelation, how stillness recalibrates your energy field, why surrendering control activates manifestation, and how to make your very presence a magnet for divine synchronicity. Each chapter will unfold like a sacred initiation, gently guiding you deeper into the quiet truths that live behind the veil of noise. You do not need to climb mountains to find enlightenment. You do not need to recite mantras or chase gurus. You need only to remember the one thing you were born with, and have long forgotten: the art of being still. So take a breath, feel it. Not with your mind, but with your being. As the noise of the world fades into the background, listen, truly listen, to the ancient truth echoing in your soul. You were never meant to chase power. You were meant to embody it. And in stillness, you already do. There is a reason temples were built high atop mountains or buried deep in forests, far from the chaos of the world. They were not simply structures of worship, but mirrors of what must be built within. The true sanctuary is internal. You do not need stone pillars or sacred chants to find the divine. You need space. Space within your own being where silence can live, where thought no longer dominates the sky of your awareness like storm clouds but drifts like leaves on water, without attachment. Stillness begins not as an act, but as an environment, a sacred space you prepare inside yourself where the divine may dwell. To create this inner temple, you must become like the ancient architects, deliberate, reverent, and wise. You begin by clearing the debris, the mental clutter, the noise of unfinished stories, the echoes of what others told you to be. Close your eyes. Feel your breath. Not as a technique, but as a holy ritual. With each inhale, imagine sweeping out a chamber in your inner temple. With each exhale, release what does not belong. You are not just quieting the mind, you are sanctifying your being. In the ancient Sufi tradition, the heart is called Kalb, which means that which turns. It is said to be the place where divine presence makes contact with human soul. but it can only turn, only receive, when it is not filled with distraction. This is why the mystics withdrew. Not because they hated the world, but because they knew that within the silence of solitude, something greater could emerge, something eternal. Stillness is not escape. It is return. Return to your center. Return to your truth. And here's the paradox. The deeper you go into stillness, the more connected you become to everything. In this sanctuary, you become a tuning fork for divine intelligence. Your very presence begins to radiate coherence. People feel it before you speak. Animals rest near you. Synchronicities increase. Not because you are trying, but because you are aligned. This is the secret of the inner sanctuary. It requires no walls, no doors, no keys. Only presence, only stillness. And in that stillness, the sacred speaks. Surrender. A word often misunderstood, mistaken for weakness, for giving up, for losing the fight. But in the realm of spiritual law, surrender is not the collapse of power, it is its ascension. To surrender is to let go of the illusion of control. It is to stop wrestling with the current and instead flow with the deeper rhythm of life. Stillness is not achieved by force. It is allowed through surrender. Imagine a lake. The more you struggle within it, the more ripples you create. But the moment you let go, the waters settle, and clarity returns. Surrender is the frequency of deep trust, the kind that says, I do not need to manipulate reality, for I am aligned with its source. And in this frequency, miracles begin to organize themselves around you. In every mystical tradition, the surrendered heart is the receptive heart. The Taoists spoke of Wu Wei, effortless action. To move in harmony with the Tao is not to push, but to yield, to listen, to flow. The mystics of India spoke of Ishvara Pranadhana, surrender to the divine will, as the path to liberation. And the Gnostics, they knew that surrender was not passive, but potent. It was the conscious collapsing of the false self so the true essence could emerge. In silence, we access this frequency. When we stop trying to make things happen, we make room for the universe to deliver what already is. You are not here to control everything. You are here to attune. Stillness is the sacred posture of surrender. It says, I release the need to chase. I release the stories of not enough. I trust that I am already being guided, and that what is meant for me cannot miss me. From this surrendered space, manifestation becomes magnetic, and life begins to respond. There is a secret most manifestation teachings ignore, a truth the ancients knew and the modern world forgot. Silence is the most powerful field of creation. Why? Because silence is pure potential, untouched by doubt, uncolored by ego. It is the unformed clay before thought shapes it. When you are still, you are closest to source, and in that state, what you intend echoes louder, travels faster, and anchors deeper into the field of form. Most people try to manifest from a noisy place, filled with resistance, with fear, with hurry, but true manifestation is not loud. It is subtle, silent, and sovereign. In silence, you plant the seed, not with desperation, but with reverence. The ancients practiced this through visualization in quiet, through fasting from words, through walking alone into the wilderness to commune with the divine blueprint. When you practice stillness, you step outside the frequency of need and enter the field of alignment. You are no longer asking for what you want. You are becoming it. This is why silence works. It purifies the channel. It returns you to the space between thoughts, where quantum possibility lives. So the next time you desire something, do not rush to speak it. Sit, breathe, enter silence, and feel it as if it already is. Because in stillness, you are not waiting for the manifestation. You are the manifestation. There once was a sage who lived at the edge of a village. He never spoke much, never hurried, never imposed, yet his presence altered everything. People would climb the hill just to sit near him. They would come with chaos in their hearts and leave with clarity. One day, a young man stormed into the sage's hut. furious with life. "I've tried everything," he shouted. "Why do things never change for me?" The sage said nothing. The young man demanded answers. Still silence. Until finally, he collapsed in exhaustion, and as he sat there, breath slowing, thoughts quieting, something strange happened. Peace. Not given, but revealed. The sage finally spoke. "You came for answers, but what you needed was stillness. The answers were already within you. They were simply hidden beneath your noise." The power of this parable is simple. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. Inaction is not weakness. When chosen consciously, it becomes power. The world celebrates movement, but the wise celebrate stillness, because from stillness, right action arises. Not reaction, not impulse, but aligned movement from the depths of being. Become like the sage. Learn to rest in your presence. Let the world come to you. Because when you are still, the truth has space to speak. How do we enter the sacred state of stillness in a world that never stops? The answer lies not in withdrawing forever, but in crafting moments of sacred pause. Here are ancient practices to return to your center. 1. The breath watch. Sit for 5 minutes daily and observe your breath without altering it. This awakens the witness within and dissolves the ego's grip. 2. Word fasting. Choose a day each week for silence. No unnecessary talking, texting, or external chatter. Let your energy speak louder than your words. 3. Nature merging. Go into nature and do nothing. Just be. Let the trees recalibrate your nervous system. Let the earth slow your pulse. 4. Candle gazing. Tritaka, an ancient yogic practice. Gaze at a flame for 10 minutes. It stills the mind and activates your inner fire. 5. Sacred journaling. After sitting in silence, write only what arises from stillness, not the mind. Not the to-do list, but the soul's whisper. These practices are not rituals of escape. They are doorways, portals back to the self. Do not underestimate their simplicity, for it is often in the simplest acts that the deepest awakenings occur. Stillness is not just a personal practice. It is a transmission. When you embody silence, you become a vessel, a living oracle. Others feel safer around you. Children gravitate toward you. Even chaos respects your energy. The silent vow is a commitment to presence, to speak less, feel more, and anchor into the now. Make this vow with your being. I will not rush. I will not force. I will be the still point in the spinning world. This is not about being passive. It's about being precise. Your presence becomes your power. Your quiet becomes your calling card. And in a noisy world, that is rare. And rare things magnetize everything. We end where we began. Stillness. But now, with new eyes. You are not here to get anything. You are here to receive, and receiving only happens when we stop chasing. Sit with that. You do not need to scream to be heard. You do not need to strive to be worthy. The universe responds not to effort, but to essence. And your essence is stillness. Let the world chase. You return to the silence. Return to the breath. Return to the being behind all doing. Because here, in this sacred stillness, the divine is already listening, and everything you ever needed is already arriving.